Hey guys, and today I'm going to show you how to replace the thermostat and drain the antifreeze out of a W123 Mercedes-Benz. This is a OM616 engine and a 240D, but the process should be the same for 300Ds as well. Let's get into it. So in your engine bay, you can just pull down on the right support there, and your bonnet will open further. And under here in the front, you'll see this piece right here. This is our thermostat housing. But before we take that off, we're going to want to drain the antifreeze that's in here currently. So let's go ahead and I'll show you where two drain plugs are at. You'll have a drain plug for your radiator, and there's also a drain plug. You can actually see it right there. I'll show you, get you a better view. Let me see if I can. Right there, that is the drain plug for the block. You'll need to drain both in order to get most of the coolant out of the system. Otherwise, you'll still have old coolant, and if your vehicle is like mine, it has never been changed, and it's been 45 years. So, probably best to go ahead and replace it. So let's get under the car and show you where the drain plug for the radiator first is. Okay, so underneath the vehicle, you'll see the oil drain pan, you'll see the generator, the AC compressor, and in front of the AC compressor you will see a petcock, which all you need is a flathead screwdriver and a drain pan underneath of it. Obviously, make sure you do catch this, as it is antifreeze and it is a very poisonous chemical and animals like to drink it. There's like a sweet taste to it. And make sure that you have your drain pan lined up properly, because I have mine backwards. On this side, you have, I think it's a mount, but it has like a Mercedes logo into it. I think it's really cool. All you gotta do is take this out. And you can already see mine is, there we go. So you're just gonna let that drain, then we'll drain the other plug after this. Okay, so I went ahead and removed the drain bolt for the antifreeze and the engine block. The one I got to fit was a 3/4 inch socket. I found the best way to get to it is just from up here underneath the air intake. I guess if you have a turbo diesel with a 5-cylinder model, you'll have a harder time getting to it, but for the 240D, you can just go straight through here. And I found the way to minimize the spillage was to put the drain pan sideways. I did spill a bit, but I caught the majority of it, which is good. So now let's go ahead and remove this thermostat housing, which is held on by 3 of these bolts. I believe they are 10 millimeters, but I'll let you know. Okay, so I got my thermostat housing off, and I took the thermostat out. I went ahead and just took this out. It comes out, it actually rests in between this gasket, so if you're trying to get this out, pry in this, I think this is for bleeding the air out of the system. Stick a screwdriver there, pry up, and the whole assembly will come out. The reason why I'm putting my old one back in here is because I'm going to flush the system with distilled water, just to make sure. If you look inside there, it's not very clean. I want this system to be clean when I put everything new into it. I also wanted to note that be very careful, as you can see, this one very much wanted to strip. I had to go back and forth a few times to get this bolt to come out without snapping. So it only seemed to be this top one, so maybe that's just a reoccurring thing, maybe because of all the water that's on it or something. But be aware, this may happen to you. And if it starts getting a little too tight to go left, go right, then left a few times, and you might be able to wiggle it out. I'm probably going to replace this bolt. I probably will replace all 3 bolts looking at them. Or I might try to clean these 2 up at least. But I'll probably definitely be replacing this one. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this back together, and we'll get distilled water. You'll need, to do this process, you'll need 2 gallons of concentrate antifreeze, and then 6 gallons of water, distilled water, to do the mix and to flush the system. Now I might need to get more if I have to flush it again, but it doesn't seem too bad. It only probably needs about 1 flush. So let's go ahead and put everything back together. Make sure you put the drain plug back in, and the drain plug on the bottom back in. So after you put all that together, then we can refill the system. So let's go ahead and get to that. Okay, so the next step is you're going to want to put your thermostat housing back together. I did get new bolts, as you can see. The size for the bolts was a 6mm by 1 by 20mm long. This worked quite well. I just reused the washers that were on them on the old bolts. So after you get everything back together, you'll make sure you put your drain plug back in. You're going to fill the whole vehicle with distilled water. Make sure it's distilled, as it won't corrode or rust inside of the engine. And we're going to let it run for a few seconds and top it off as needed. I have more water. And we're going to make sure that this flushes through. And that way when we drain it again, all the residue and all the rust and all the anything else that's in the system will come out. So go ahead and let it run for a few seconds. Well, actually a few minutes. Cut that one. We'll let it run for a few minutes and then we will drain it again after it cools down. So let's go ahead and do that. So after you've ran the vehicle for a few moments, you'll be able to see it actually moving inside the cap. You don't need to put the cap on, and as it's running you can fill it. But afterward, you want to drain the radiator and drain the block, but then put just the drain plug back into the radiator, because you want to then pour another, it'll be about a gallon, into the radiator to flush out the little bit of sediment that's at the bottom of the block. It'll flush it out. That way all the old is out, because there's not a drain plug at the bottom of the engine, it's only on the side. So now that all that's out, then we can re-drain the radiator one more time to get the rest of the water out, and then we can go ahead and refill it with our mix. Alright, now that we have the radiator drained, we're going to go ahead and remove our thermostat housing again, because we're now going to insert the new thermostat and the new rubber grommet. The idea is pretty much the same. I'll show you what I do. But take these 3 bolts off, it comes off, and we'll put the new one in. So let's get to it. Okay, so you just simply put your gasket around it. It does not matter which direction you put the gasket, because it is round on both sides. And then you insert the, I guess the spring should be pointing up when you're going into the housing that is not attached to the vehicle itself. Oop, don't drop it like I just did. Okay, do it with one hand, and then you just simply set it in. While you're doing this, make sure that it doesn't not seat, otherwise you'll have a leak. So I'm going to go ahead and get this all tightened up. Alright, now that we got our thermostat in, we're going to go ahead and fill the system up. I'm using 2 gallons of concentrate, and then the rest will be distilled water. That's what the Heinz manual calls for. So I will be using 2 gallons. So I'll go ahead and pour 2 gallons in, and go the rest, fill it up the rest of the way with distilled water. This is the antifreeze I'll be using. Apparently it's what everybody says is the best for these old diesel Mercedes. So this is what I'm using. This is the concentrate. So let's go ahead and pour this in. Okay, so I went ahead, and after we flushed the system, I guess since there is a lot of water still stuck in there, that it only used just about all those 2 gallons of concentrate. So that's, I'm gonna go if that's the mix I want to use, is just 2 gallons of concentrate with whatever distilled water was left in the system, which should equivalent out to the mixture should be. So that is how you change your thermostat and flush your antifreeze in a W123 Mercedes-Benz. I hope this helps. I'll see you guys next time.